Hello, I'm Hannah from Moulettes.
And I'm Ollie from Moulettes.
And can you just name the amazing instruments I'd never seen before that are part of what create the wonderful vibe that you made?
I play the 5-string electric cello. It's built by my dad, so it's quite unusual looking, sort of like.
Yes.
Has got an acoustic body, and it's got a top E string, so I can get really high up. So I've got the kind of not quite the same range as a violin, but I can get up there.
Yep.
And then
Small chamber as well, so it doesn't feed back so much. So it's good for a kind of rock environment.
Yep.
It's good.
So
Designed
it's a custom
specifically.
designed. Cool.
Yeah.
It's been auto harp, a bassoon. I think this is our 4th record now, and I think we've always enjoyed getting weird instruments involved in
Yes.
the arrangements. I mean, that's part of the fun, really. So, and seeing what they can do, their potential of what strange instruments can do through effects and production, and it's good to
Right.
kind of break these. Well, just try new things.
Try new things.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is music important? Like, why is it important? What does it do to us and to us as individuals and as community that is so important?
That's a good question. I think it's obviously a way of communicating that can be very powerful, that doesn't need to have understandable language in it. So you can obviously cross a lot of, build a lot of bridges with people that you might not be able to have a conversation with, but you can play. I think there's something very just deeply primal about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's existed as long as humans have. And when you hear something really special, it's a physical thing that overtakes you. I think it's kind of, whether it makes you want to dance or just stand kind of going, it's something that goes very deep.
There's this big myth, I think, and as someone who's I've taught a bit of music before. There's this kind of big myth about artists or musicians that you either have it or you don't. And I think, although there is a scale of that, I think there's a big myth, and that we have such a tendency to want to kind of, put people on platforms and stuff. But I think it's a really important message to communicate to people that everyone can get involved in music somehow, shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
And it does need to be encouraged culturally to enable that. I've taught kids that started off with no rhythm, supposedly.
Yes.
And yes, it takes sometimes quite a lot longer than some, but you can get there.
Yes.
You really can.
Yes.
If they want to.
Yes.
And I think so. I'm kind of into that myth busting principle. Musicians have got to work at it, or they've been imparted it by people around them and their families or their friends. It's a very cultural thing that needs to be fed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the fruits are brilliant. If you get people playing together, and we get to come and play in Canada and share and make loads of new Canadian friends and all the other international acts that are around here.
Yes.
I mean, it's such a wonderful privilege, isn't it?
Yes.
Everyone should get involved. It's a conversation that's come up a few times when we've been up here. Is so many people have been trying to get us into political discussions naturally because of the context, and then the conversation's ended the same way in a couple of times, but it's talking about why did I choose music, or why music, and to me it's the most efficient way for a vehicle of peace that's around. I think I can't find anything better that draws people together. I haven't yet, anyway. It's either about business or it's about immigration. Those two things, they're important issues, but as soon as anyone starts to say, well, there are other topics to talk about and that are related, they just get shut down as having wacky views, or and I just think
Not being important.
it's just such a shame. And loads of great politicians and great people are getting marginalised by the establishment now, which it's so easy to kind of get into that rhetoric, but it's how to marginalise democracy.
Goebbels'
You know,
little
it's like
textbook.
you can't believe it's actually
Goebbels'
happening like that. You know, it's
Goebbels' little textbook.
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's just crazy that people fall for it and just don't like open discussions about different points of view. It's that atmosphere's been building and building basically.
It's been really, really fascinating because we started in the east and then we went. So we started at Stanfest, which had its own particular. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a very family feeling to it. It's kind of really close knit. Like everyone knows each other. You know, the same volunteer. I think it's quite similar a lot with the. That's a really nice thing about the Canadian festivals. I've noticed is it's all the volunteers that come back year after year and doing all the hard work that they do. And across the season as well, like from Montreal Jazz Festival to Winnipeg, and then we went to Vancouver and to Duncan and Victoria Island.
Yeah.
And we're kind of seeing the same people there as well, you know, the same musicians, so that there was a nice kind of sense of
In a country this size.
in a
people
country,
probably do
yeah,
the same
exactly,
thing.
Yeah.
just bumping into people.
Yeah.
So I guess they just create this small, this feeling of small worldness and
Yes.
a closeness, and you know, we'd love to come back, and I imagine that if we did come back, we'd probably see some of the same volunteers and
Yeah.
some of the same people working, which is just really nice.
Yes.
It's just a good way to build friendships.
Yeah.
And how many different types of skills are involved in an event like this?
Yes.
You know, that's what's so great about it. You have from just a friendly volunteer saying hello to the investment from the community, from the business folks that I'm sure have invested in this, to I don't know. I mean, event organising, people picking up litter, you know, people
Chefs.
who are environmentally aware, chefs.
I know.
They're
I
important.
mean,
All the technical stuff, the music setups, all the stage setups.
yeah, long may music festivals and art festivals be the centre of, you know, everyone's story that they talk
Yeah.
about every year and shared experiences. And it's just coming back to what we've been talking about. Really, it's vital. There's very few things that bring the amount of different types of people together, working together.
Yeah.
It just made me think of the Most Mira project though in Bosnia.
Hmm.
The what, sir?
We both volunteered for a project in Bosnia, like rural Bosnia, to put on a children's festival where they all, well, up to about, how old were they? 16?
16, yeah.
But some of them were quite little. All the way up doing all kinds of different arts subjects, and some of them like doing the media stuff as well. Like it was, yeah, like a festival but put on for them, and that the whole point of that was
To desegregate the
to
school, because
desegregate,
the schools have
yeah.
only just started to desegregate.
Right. So it was
since
a
the
way to
Civil
kind of
War.
help them get to know one another.
So it's their kind of
across-
summer camp, and
Yeah.
you just get them
Yeah.
playing together. And
Yeah.
And there isn't much going on like that. It was quite a new experience for a lot of them, and it was a massive success in the sense of kind of bridge building and peace. You know, there was
and having a good time
they were having a good time, and
and learning as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like the most, I guess, one of the most extreme examples that I've seen of that in action. But it's the same thing, just on a different scale. 'Cause